It's not difficult to spark a woman's excitement or get her genuinely interested in sleeping with you, but most men approach it the wrong way. They think they need status, big muscles, flawless looks, or a pocket full of witty lines. The truth is none of that matters nearly as much as a single shift in how you interact with her. Change the way you carry yourself, change one key attitude, and suddenly you'll notice something remarkable. Women following your lead naturally, no hesitation, no confusion. The men who understand this appear to have an unfair advantage, almost like they're playing a different game entirely. But it isn't magic. Any man can learn it. Including you. That's why I want you to stay here for a few minutes, really pay attention, and listen closely. I'm here to be your personal guide, your wingwoman, and every week I break down the difference between what women say they want and what actually makes us feel drawn in, turned on, and ready to say yes. No tricks. No nonsense. Just reality. Let's start with the question every man secretly carries. How do you get a woman to say yes to sex? It's a fair question, because many of you have lived the same frustrating cycle. You meet someone you're attracted to. You try hard, you're polite, attentive, maybe even generous, and still you find yourself rejected when things start to turn intimate. Over time, that rejection stops feeling like bad luck and starts to feel like a verdict. You begin to feel invisible, maybe even defective. That frustration often grows into resentment, and resentment can lead men to dark corners of the internet, to communities selling shortcuts and secret systems to win women over. Sometimes those tactics produce a quick victory, but they almost always come at a cost. Damaged trust, women left feeling used, and an even deeper disconnect later. And ironically, even then, you don't get what you were really after. You get a moment, not a connection. You get a body, not desire. Here's the truth that gets missed. Women are far more sexual than most men assume. We're not shy, fragile, innocent little creatures. We like sex, a lot. We think about it. We fantasize about it. We crave it. We enjoy it as deeply and as often as you do. Saying yes is not unnatural for us. In fact, under the right conditions, it's the most natural thing in the world. We want to say yes. But we're forced to say no far more often than we'd like, not because we don't want you, but because of how so many men approach us. Too many men treat sex like a finish line. They see a woman, feel attraction, and immediately shift into goal mode. How do I get her into bed? What do I say? What's the move? And that mindset leaks out. We feel it. We smell it. That hunger, that desperation, that "I need this to happen" energy, it doesn't feel flattering, it feels transactional. It makes us feel like you don't see us as human beings but as puzzles to solve. And, whether consciously or unconsciously, we read that hunger as a signal. This guy doesn't have many options, or else he wouldn't be so desperate. And that impression, fair or not, kills desire. So if that approach fails, what actually works? The answer is surprisingly simple. You must let go of the hunger. Stop treating sex like a prize to win or a goal to achieve. The men who consistently attract women without struggle all have one thing in common: a different attitude. They don't see sex as the only thing, or even the most important thing. They see it as a natural, fun, inevitable part of connecting with someone they're attracted to. They meet a woman and think, "She and I could have a lot of fun together," not, "How do I get her to sleep with me?" They don't ask, "What's the trick?" They assume it will happen, not with arrogance, but with ease. That attitude creates an entirely different energy. It's confident without being pushy. It's sexual without being desperate. And women feel safe in that space, safe enough to let their own desire unfold. But there's another layer here, a deeper, more uncomfortable truth most men eventually stumble into, often painfully. Imagine this. You finally get the woman you dreamed of. You wake up next to her, her scent still on the sheets, her warmth still against your skin, and for a moment it feels like you've won. You reached the summit. You're hers. She's yours. And then slowly, quietly, something changes. Nothing explosive, nothing dramatic, just a subtle coldness that creeps in. Her laughter starts to sound practiced. Her touch feels distant. Her eyes don't meet yours with the same warmth. And deep down, you know it, she doesn't love you the way you love her. You try to explain what you're feeling. She tells you you're overthinking. You're too sensitive. But you're not crazy. You're waking up from a dream. And that awakening, as painful as it is, opens the door to a truth most men spend their whole lives avoiding. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer saw it clearly, long before modern psychology confirmed it. He tore away the romantic language, the fairy tales, the comforting lies, and revealed the biological machinery underneath. His words were blunt, even brutal. Women are, by nature, instruments for the perpetuation of the species. At first, it sounds cruel, even insulting. But it isn't hatred. It's clarity. Schopenhauer wasn't attacking women. He was attacking the illusion. The illusion that she loves your soul. The illusion that her loyalty is bound to your character, that her passion is rooted in who you are as a person. No. She is drawn to something older, deeper, something programmed into the very fabric of life itself, survival. If you ignore that, you become a slave to it. You spend your life chasing approval from a system that isn't built to care about you, only to use you for what you can offer. And if what you offer disappears, so does her devotion. Modern evolutionary science echoes what Schopenhauer wrote. Women are strategic. They are selective. Their desires are adaptive. Not because they're cruel, but because nature built them that way. This is where philosophy becomes power. This is where Stoicism steps in. The Stoic man doesn't hate women. He doesn't deny their nature. He sees clearly. He accepts. And in that acceptance, he becomes free. He stops begging to be chosen. He stops living for validation. He stops measuring his worth by how much affection he can extract from someone else. Instead, he chooses himself. When you understand this, betrayal no longer shatters you. Loss no longer defines you. You can love a woman, sleep with her, even cherish her, but without clinging to the fantasy that her love is proof of your value. You lead not to impress, but because it's who you are. You love not to be saved, but because you have love to give. You no longer fear losing her, because you no longer confuse her with your purpose. This freedom comes at a cost. Once you see through the mask, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to the comforting illusion. The lies will no longer work on you. The promises will no longer seduce you. You'll remember what it felt like to beg to be seen, only to realize she was only ever following instinct. And that pain, the pain of clarity, is necessary. Because this was never just about women. It's about awakening. It's about recognizing that nature built the sweetest, most convincing illusion in human history, that your worth lies in being chosen. But once you let go of that, once you stop building your life around approval, you become something different. You become a man who walks into a room and sees the rules of the game without needing to play them. You love without blindness. You lead without arrogance. You suffer without breaking. This is where Schopenhauer's brutal honesty meets Stoic strength. Together, they form a shield and a compass. Clarity to see the world as it is, and discipline to move through it without bitterness. You can admire women, desire them, even fall for them, but you'll never again be trapped by the romantic myth that love will save you. And that, perhaps, is the very freedom the world hopes you never find.